Hello, how are you? I am Kim Barber with the Kim Barber Group, your Northern Virginia and West Virginia real estate experts. So in this market report, I'm going to take a deeper dive in here for you. So stay with me through the end, because if you're living in Loudoun County, if you want to really take a deeper look, then I'm doing this video a little bit different than I have in the past. And if you want to see this more and more and more, do me a favor and make sure we know whether you're subscribing to the channel, you're dropping a comment, however it is that you're seeing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dive in deeper to each of the areas within Loudoun County. So instead of me giving you the broad stroke, I'm going to give you some deeper stuff, and I'm going to share the screen so I can interpret what a lot of people maybe get overwhelmed with when they look at these reports. I'm Kim Barber with Kim Barber Group and eXp Realty, and I've helped thousands of owners and agents with real estate since 2004. So I am also a resident here of Loudoun County. I also have a house in mid-state over in Colonial Beach. So if you ever want to move out that way, then go ahead and reach out to us because we can cover a lot. My business partner, also Christine Atkins, lives out in Percival, sells a lot in Winchester, and then in the eastern panhandle of West Virginia. So you can also look for our various reports that we're doing because we sell in these areas where we have deep expertise. I also know that, while we give you these market reports, people want to have the deep dive into each of their particular county or each of their particular town. So we're going to start that starting in 2025, where we do a deeper dive into each area. So make sure, again, you subscribe so that we can talk about Loudoun, Fairfax, Prince William, areas that we've known and lived at for the majority or all of my life. And then also Christine sells a ton out in the Winchester, points between Percival, Winchester, and over into the Panhandle of West Virginia. So this is great content, great information. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in. So the first thing that I am going to share with you right now is, of course, there is no crystal ball of what's going to happen. We're all going into a new political climate. The information I'm going to share with you is December of 2024, because it takes a lot of gathering of data before they can roll it out. So there's always going to be a bit of a lag in the content that I share with you. So this is going to be that. So what has happened, obviously, as I'm recording it, we've passed December, of course, and I'm recording this at the end of January for December. So what's happened is we've obviously had, a big change in the presidential directions and who became president. And then that obviously might have big impacts on the interest rates and all of those things that will happen as all of this shakes out. Okay, so right now, I will drop it in here right now before I get into the market reports, that the rates have taken a bump up. And they took the bump up before the election results, or the inauguration, I'm sorry. So they already had taken the bump up. And so the 15-year fix still stays below the 30. It did go, we had a dip in like October, November. So that was really great for those of you that were able to lock in, even with something with a 5 in it. I think everybody is in the industry is starting to think that things are going to settle in something with a 5 in it. Right. I think a lot of people can live in the 5% interest rate. And so that's where we are hoping as an industry that we see that going back in. I think it's healthy for sales prices to level them out. It's healthy to keep inflation from going out of the control. And then also it's healthy that it gets people into their homes where they're not like myself. I have houses with 2%, 3% interest rates, but I would like to have different homes. So even for myself, like, we can all relate to this situation. So that's the industry chatter of what's going on. And so with that in mind, of course, that can influence the prices going ahead. We haven't seen any decreases. What a lot of people are doing is they're going ahead and getting into that house of their dreams. They're getting into the home that they want, with the idea that when those rates do come down, then they'll just refinance then. Because what happens when the interest rates go down? The prices typically go up. So even if you're like on the fence, should I buy, should I not? I'm sharing with you that the industry, and I think the market and the people that are in the office now, would like to see those rates come down. Everything that all the economists I listen to, all the smart people that are in charge of these things that I see, again, are trying to they're all thinking like, can we get it into the 5s and normalize it there? So if that is the idea that you want to move, and then you can go with the idea of like, I'll just refinance it versus paying something that would likely increase into the future. Okay, so let's jump in and look at Loudoun County and what is really happening with the Loudoun County market stats. All right, so you can see in here, this is obviously, I'm getting you this great information. We have the Dulles Association of Realtors. Their information is a little bit more lagging. So every month I'll be giving this to you. So some of the key things that we should know when it comes to the median sales prices, that's this right here. When it looks at the median sales price, notice that this is across the county, that we have gone up by just under 10%. So that's a great number. It's a healthy number. If you're an owner, then you're like, great, 10% is great. It was climbing ridiculous before. We had gone into like some of the 3%, the 5%, so we had kind of leveled down a little bit. But overall, we're having a 10% on the median sales price. Now, here's the thing. There are some zip codes that are higher, so pulling that up than others. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. So pending sales, also, if you see the sales here, we've also had a lot more sales in 2024 than 2023, which is very interesting because there hasn't really been a ton of inventory. So I think that also attributes to new construction, which is great. And people are just kind of fed up. They're like, let's just face it, like we were getting a divorce, but we didn't really want to know where we were going to live. And now I don't like you anymore. So I can't stay in here and I have to move. In contrast, it's like, okay, we love each other and we've been living with mom and dad for so long, but now we just have to bite the bullet and we need to go ahead and buy our house. So there's all these life factors that will come into play that will have people start to go out and buy and sell no matter what the circumstances are. So anyway, so inside of here, you can see this chart where you have average days on market. So this is a good indicator also that goes out back into that demand and the pricing and how everything is leveling out. So if we see a higher average days on market, then it tends to mean that there's more months supply. So that's down in here. So you have 0.9, which means that for every house, there's a buyer. And so when you have that, your average days on market tends to be about 30 days. So this says 23, but this also, anyway. So without going over analytical, just know that usually when you have less days on market, it also means we don't have enough houses. At the end of the day, that's what it means. And so the average days on market in Loudoun County, when it was like super crazy, we were having 3 days and 4 days and 5 days was the average days on market for like the year. So we remember everybody had to like stand in line, put their, on the new construction, and you had to like hurry up and put your offer in before you could even see the house. It's insane. So having that 19 days is very healthy. It's very, allows you to actually have some negotiation room, do normal things like if you have a house to sell, they'll give some flexibility that you can make that happen nowadays. Also, it allows you to ask for inspections and things, but which are like, well, how does that attribute to the average days on the market? Well, it means that if something is going to sell in 3 days, they don't really care. If you have a house to sell, they don't really care if you need inspections. They can sell their house like this. So you as a buyer don't really have as much control over the situation to do things that are fair, like having home inspection. So that's where these things do play into the circumstance, the environment. So when we come down in here further and look into some of the towns a little deeper. So when you come into median sales price, right? So this is single family detached. You can see that the median sales price of a single family home went up by 14%. So the other one I gave you was an overall that, let's just say 10%. This one, let's just say 14.5%. So the detached homes went up higher, right? They typically always have a better appreciation than, for example, a condo. That average days on market before for a detached home had almost gotten to be a month, 26 days last year. This year, it's only 18. So the demand for single family has definitely gone up. And so townhouse and condominiums. So in this case, what you'll see is that so we were 10% average median, right? 10% was the average for all kinds of homes. 14.5% was for the detached though. So that's higher than the other one, which means what's pulling it down to the lower, if you will, that's the townhouse and condominium. So what are you talking about, Kim? The average median sales price increased by 4% for a townhouse and a condo, but the average for a detached went up 14%. So in the middle, you have 10. So if you have a detached home, it went up by 14+%. If you have a condo in a townhome, it went up by an average of 4%. So people are like, which one should I buy? Well, you buy the one that you can afford. You know, I started out at my stages, and you're going to start out in your stages, and this is just the nature of the beast. Condos also have condo fees, HOA fees, things like that, which can impact budgets and such like that. So the other thing that's interesting to pay attention to is this average sold to ask price. So if you put a house on the market for $500,000 in general, if you price it right and the house is in good condition, you know, it's move-in ready, you're going to get the $100. Right now it's saying you're going to get a little bit higher, but that means you have to have the house in good condition. Okay, if I come back and scroll through here and I look at the detached ones, and you can see that last year it was just under. So if you had the house for sale for, let's just say, $1 million, and you would sell it for $996,000, that's like this. Assuming you put the house in good condition and all parts are equal, you don't have smells, and your house is in good condition, it's not scratched up, and they have to do a million things to the house when they move in, then they're saying that you could actually get 100. If it's $1 million, you could get $1 million. What would this be, like 13,000? And $1,113,000, whatever, you're going to get more than you listed it for, because people will pay for good condition homes. So that's some of the big takeaways. If you would like to get a copy of this report, then you can go ahead and drop down below and you can say, I want to have it. You can drop us your email, and then we will send this to you. Okay, so that is something that I hope you have taken good information out of here, because the core things that people want to take away is, how much is my appreciation being? Now let's talk about this a little bit further. I told you that we were going to go a little bit into the zip codes for the sales of Loudoun County. It's very interesting that with the sales, we actually have had some different increases and decreases based on where you're at, right? And so the sales in general, you have had a lot of sales out here in Sterling in this zip code, and then down in Ashburn. So it's very interesting that you're like, what is the percentage of the sales, right? So this actually means that you've had less. Okay, so I promised that we were going to go into some of the individual cities. So inside this chart, what you can see is it's a median list price. Okay, and so then obviously what the chart here, it shows you that this is like going over, you know, year over year of the averages. Okay, but when you come in here, you can see the percentage of change, like who's winning, and the biggest increase of the median sales price. So look at 20175, 47%. They're like, how did that zip code go up by 47%? Well, they have a lot of new construction homes that are kind of expensive. And there's a lot of new construction kind of in that whole corridor around. So you have a lot of new construction all around that 20175 zip code, which can bump the prices up, you know, and those things all start to have the effect. So there's a lot of land out there that you see that new homes are going up. I mean, I live in 20175. I wish I could say my house went up that much. But again, this is a percentage of the median going up. So it's actually about $100,000 is what that equates to. And so all around Leesburg, you can see there's just a ton of construction. If you go over to the Costco, you know, you've got new homes off of Battlefield. If you go down Sycolin, you've got new homes over there. If you go down Cross Trail, you've got homes over there. So every place you look, there's new construction. Out in Lovettsville, the same thing. You can see that here. There's a lot of new construction. And so these are some of the things that are boosting the values up, which does have an impact all around. But those are the ones that are having the highest percentage of that median change. The sales prices is just kind of follows along the median, not a lot to learn there. And so the average sold to ask price ratio, again, you see this continued demand of this 20176. New homes up here, Ashburn, Leesburg, tend to pull in those target areas, not unlike history. Okay, so percentage of change in market percentage of average days on market. This is really important because at 2022, when things like when people were freaking out, you know, we were coming out of COVID, the interest rates were really jacking up and people were like really not used to them yet. And so the houses were starting to sit and sit. But notice that then they started, the days started to come down. So what does this mean? The confidence in the market, people are adjusting to the market as well. There's also more homes coming out on the market, which is helpful. So buyers are coming out, homes are becoming available, people are getting used to the rates, people are adjusting, new programs are coming out for people to buy, and all of those kinds of things. So this is just a big snapshot into it. Again, if you're interested in getting more of this information, if you would like to get a market report for your town, then go ahead and click the links. It'll take you to our website. You can put in your zip code, you can put in your neighborhood, or you can put in your town, and we can start sending you this information every week, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. You can let us know. Okay, so free market reports. I appreciate you being here, but go ahead and click on the links to come to our website and get your market report. It'll get you there, and then you can just add your neighborhood, your city, your zip code. You can get all three if you want. You just go back to it 3 times and enter your information, or you can message us and tell us you'd like to have multiple neighborhoods. If you have an investment property, we'd love to keep you in the loop. All right. Thank you for visiting me here today. I hope that you have enjoyed this and gotten some great information. If you would like to have a free real estate strategy conversation, consultation with myself or my business partner, Christine, we also have those on our website, and you can click the links and set up that free appointment, and we'll talk to you then.